Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept our humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Welcome to this morning's Srimad Bhagavatam classes from Canto 2, which is entitled The Cosmic Manifestation, Chapter 8, Questions by King Pariksit. And this morning we're doing text 15. Without further ado, we'll start the class. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Janavallabha Girivadadhari Gopi Janavallabha Girivadadhari Yashodanandana Vrajanaranjana Yashodanandana Vrajanaranjana Jamunatira Vanachari Jamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Janavallabha Girivadadhari Gopi Janavallabha Girivadadhari Yashodanandana Vrajanaranjana Yashodanandana Vrajanaranjana Jamunatira Vanachari Jamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari 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 Jayam Vishnupad Paramhansa Privajagacharya Astottara Satasishimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nitya Nirva Vishnu Om Vishnupad Paramhansa Privajagacharya Astottara Satasishimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavin Ki Jai. Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवाचार्य गौर भक्तवृंद की जय श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपदास श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय मथुरा धाम की जय नवद्वीप धाम की जय जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय जगन्नाथ स्वामी की जय गंगा माई की जय जमुना माई की जय तुलसी देवी की जय भक्ति देवी की जय Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Samaveda Bhaktavinda ki jai, Vitai Gaur Premanandi, Hari 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 Gaur. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the lotus feet of Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga Prabhupada. Namo Vishnu Daya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale. Srimati Bhakti Tirtha Swami Niti Namini. Namaste Krishna Paraya Prabhupada Siddharthmani. Sri Gaura Karuna Shakti Bhakti Tirtha Namini. Narayana Namaskritya Narom Chaivam Narottamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayam Gujirayat Nashtaprayesva Bhadresu Nityam Bhagavata Sivaya Bhavati tamasloke bhaktir-bhavati naistiki. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, we should accept humble obeisances. All glories to Sri Prabhupada. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 8, Text 15. Bhū-pātāla-kakub-vyoma, graha-nakṣatra-bhūbhṛtām, sarit-samudra-dvīpānāṁ, sambhavaś caitad-okasām. Bhū-pātāla-kakub-vyoma, graha-nakṣatra-bhūbhṛtām, sarit-samudra-dvīpānāṁ, sambhavaś caitad-okasām. Bhū-pātāla-kakub-vyoma, graha-nakṣatra-bhūbhṛtām, sarit-samudra-dvīpānāṁ, sambhavaś caitad-okasām. Please chant.
bhū-pātāla-kakub-vyoma, graha-nakṣatra-bhūbhṛtām, sarit-samudra-dvīpānāṁ, sambhavaś caitad-okasām. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Anyone else?
Bhū-pātāla-kakub-vyoma, graha-nakṣatra-bhūbhṛtām, sarit-samudra-dvīpānāṁ, sambhavaś caitad-okasām. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Bhū-pātāla-kakub-vyoma, graha-nakṣatra-bhūbhṛtām, sarit-samudra-dvīpānāṁ, sambhavaś caitad-okasām. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Anyone else? All right, we'll do word for word. Bhū-pātāla, sorry. Underneath the land. Kaku, the four sides of the heavens. Vyoma, the sky. Graha, the planets. Nakshatra, the stars. Bhūbhṛtām, of the hills. Sarit, the river. Samudra, the sea. Dvīpānāṁ, of the islands. Sambhava, appearance. Cha, also. Caitad, there. Okasām, of the inhabitants. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. O best of the brāhmaṇas, please also describe how the creation of the globes throughout the universe, the four directions of the heavens, the sky, the planets, the stars, the mountains, the rivers, the seas, and the islands, as well as their different kinds of inhabitants, takes place. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The inhabitants of different varieties of land, etc., are differently situated, and not all of them are equal in all respects. The inhabitants of the land are different from the inhabitants of the water or the sky, and similarly, the inhabitants of the different planets and stars in the sky are also different from one another. By the laws of the Lord, no place is vacant, but the creatures of one particular place are different from those of other places. Even in human society, the inhabitants of the jungles or the deserts are different from those of the cities and villages. They are so made according to different qualities of the modes of nature. Such adjustment by the laws of nature is not blind. There is a great plan behind the arrangement. Maharaj Pariksit requests the great sage Shukadeva Goswami to explain all these authoritatively in accordance with proper understanding. Oma Ginati Mirandasya, Gyana Gyana Shalakaya, Chakshum Amritam Jina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Jena Bhūtale Swayam Rūpa-kadāmayam Dadāti Swaparantikam. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshnaya Bhūtale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namani. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Sunivari Paschantyadi Chatarini. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namni Gurati Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Shri Gaura Bhakta-vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare. English translation again. O best of the Brahmanas, please also describe how the creation of the globes throughout the universe, the four directions of the heavens, the sky, the planets, the stars, the mountains, the rivers, the seas, and the islands, as well as their different kinds of inhabitants, takes place. Hare Krishna. So, Maharaj Pariksit wants to know how the creation is put together. He's asking a number of questions, and this is one of them, loaded question about the different planets, the heavenly ones, and even the ones below the heavens, and the inhabitants there, how they all get put together. This is Lord Brahma's work, being coached by Gaudakshay Vishnu. But of course, the high-level saints, devotees, even though they may not have done it directly, they know also. They have the answers. And so by the grace and mercy of the Lord, Shukadeva Goswami, who himself is a pure devotee, is going to describe, give answers to all these questions. So, O best of the Brahmanas. Again, this is something that we have talked about earlier, but we will keep saying it. Every time some high-level devotee is being addressed by another one who is advanced himself, he always, in a few sentences or even part of a sentence, would give praise to the person that they're asking questions to. O best of the Brahmanas. O best of the Brahmanas. Shukadeva Goswami is being described that way. The knowledgeable person. Please also describe how the creation of the globes throughout the universe. So that gives us one idea about the shapes of the different bodies throughout the universe. For a while back, science was saying that the earth was flat. And then, of course, later, by somebody traveling one direction and coming to the same starting point, they realized it can't be flat like that. Because if it was, then at some point they would have fallen off the edge of the planet. But here, Bhagavatam tells us more. It is the case, actually, for all the planets. All of them are like that. We may assume that, but assumption is one thing, and being told for a fact, that's another thing. So, of course, Maharaj Pariksit very much wants to inquire. He's got 7 days to live, and he's making full use of those 7 days, day and night, listening intently and also asking questions for clarity, some of it for himself, but for the most part, for us. For us, so that we get a better sense of what is. So, in other parts of the Bhagavatam, it's explained as Maharaj Pariksit was asking 4 directions of the heavens. Then he talked about the sky. Scientists don't know this, but Bhagavatam has already put it out. The sky is created by sound only. So we can chew on that for a while. I remember one time one thing that's close to the sky, as we all know, we all know of when we look up, is we see clouds. The clouds hold rain, they hold water. So how is it able to hold water and move like this? It's phenomenal. It's very interesting, very high level science, which Lord Brahma put together to be able to evaporate water from the land, from the sea, go up and stay there, and even have shapes. And then, depending on the change of weather and the wind, then we get downpours of rain. It's incredible. So it's my aspiration wanted to know more. So the sky is created by sound. The planets made up of soil. Normally we just say the different elements: earth, water, fire, air, ether. But there is soil. The earth is soil, basically. The water, fire, air, and space. And the covering of it is the sky. So he wanted to know about the stars also, and the mountains, and the rivers, and the seas, and the islands, as well as different kinds of inhabitants. Srila Prabhupada actually concentrated in the purport of the different inhabitants. He concentrated on the different inhabitants of the different globes or planets, as Maharaj Pariksit preferred to use, globes. So Srila Prabhupada is explaining that the different the different globes or planets, they have different mentalities. They are materially situated in a certain way, and not all of them are equal in all respects. Some have more of material energy. Some are able to manipulate material energy more than others. Some also prefer to live more close to the natural way things were. So, and then there are different inhabitants of land, and then there are inhabitants in the water, the aquatics, and then the inhabitants in the sky, the inhabitants up on over the land. And some live pretty close to the land, and some live quite far away from. And then he wanted to know the inhabitants of the different planets there and how they are different from each other. So, by the laws of the Lord, free information for the scientists, no place is vacant. They have struggled because they have such limited capability of the instruments they're using now. They can't quite tell what's going on. But even with that little they know about planets, they're thinking that some planets are vacant, but the Earth is fully occupied. Because we live here on the Earth and we can see each other, other beings, human and non-human alike. So then they give the credit to, yes, the Earth, that is very vibrant. So much activity is taking place. Without understanding that all the planets have inhabitants and actions is taking place. Now, put yourself in the situation that if you were God, if you were the creator, let's just say, if you were the creator, and you created many planets, would you take only one planet and put inhabitants on there and leave the others vacant? If you're going to leave the others vacant, what's the point of making the planets in the first place? So, it's laughable, literally, to say that. But to think that, the other planets are vacant. The fact of the matter is, every planet is occupied on the surface and also inside of it. Like Guru Maharaj explained this by Tita Maharaj. And some people have seen beings in different vehicles of motion going through some parts even they call the Bermuda Triangle, and then they go and then they disappear. There have also been reports of some disturbances because of nuclear bomb tests that are done in, some miles down when they explode. And there are those who are living in that have expressed in their own way discomfort for that type of disturbance to them. There have been reports made about even the weather inside the planet, in parts of it. We know that some places are very hot, but not all the places are hot in the middle of the earth. Some places are, some places are not. But this is all, the Lord's creation, because earth, water, or soil, water, fire, and air, they are present everywhere around the planet and also inside the planet. So Srila Prabhupada also talks about that. Even if we restrict living beings to just talking about human beings only, the culture and the way of looking at things very much dictates how people live in different places. As the saying is that we have to watch our thoughts, because our thoughts becomes our word. Our thoughts become our words. We got to watch our words, because it's from our words that we have actions. We have to watch our actions, because somebody's actions, other people's actions, and if they agree on the same type of action, and more people get convinced for that particular action, and now quite a number of people are doing the same thing, it becomes a culture. Especially in this country, since there's free speech, people can push some things and push it loud and hard enough and have some influence in the government. And then through that, after a while, it becomes accepted. It does not mean that that thing is good necessarily, but it becomes accepted. And then it becomes a situation where some people say, no, that's not in the mode of goodness. We should stop doing that. But in others too, who are basically controlled, Maya has stolen the intelligence, they say, no, we should live this other way. So depending on the country and the country's culture, which has evolved from people doing the same thing and accepting that it's all right, that's how cultures develop. They live in a certain way. But it's all dictated by goodness, passion, and ignorance, the three modes of material nature. And everybody has free choice to live according to one or more of those modes. So the laws of nature make an adjustment. That's not, Srila Prabhupada says, it's not by chance. There is a great plan behind the arrangement. And that plan is very much connected with karma. People's activities dictate what happens to them in the next or the subsequent lives that they undertake and where they go. So if a person has done good things, then they will be born the next life in a place where mode of goodness is the predominant mode, the heavenly planets. Mode of goodness is the predominant one. And they live lives of not total peace, but relative peace, better than the other planets. So Shukadeva Goswami is to explain all of this to Maharaj Pariksit for also our benefit. Now, in Bhakti Godhead magazine, at the time I saw an article by Jayadvaita Swami, one of our gurus, Srila Prabhupada disciple, talking about the condition of, especially of human life, according to the modes of ignorance and passion. We'll talk later on about the qualities of those in the mode of goodness, qualities of those in the mode of passion, and qualities in the mode of those in the mode of ignorance. But for now, a little section of what Jayadvaita Swami was saying is that this modern civilization is supposedly to have us become more advanced and progressive. That's the idea. At least that's what they sell us, the idea. But what is really happening is that we are losing sight of the higher aim of life. We're not connected to it. the pursuit of self-realization. That's why we have to be so, so grateful and thankful to Srila Prabhupada for bringing our minds to considering our real nature, which is the soul, because we were all confused, doing things based on the body. And this is an age of quarrel on top of that. So we weren't going to get anywhere unless somebody who is advanced and not tied and tangled by the material energy begins to change our minds. And that's exactly what Srila Prabhupada did. So what's really happening is that human beings here on this planet, especially in so-called advanced countries, they're developing a kind of sophisticated degradation. Actually, there's degradation going on, but it is covered with science and technology and the products from technology. And so people have been lured into thinking or lulled into thinking that we are doing better. But the consciousness is actually going down and down and down and down, more into the mode of ignorance. But the temperament of every society as a whole is generated by, or is governed by those qualities, goodness, passion, and ignorance. Which one is predominant? That depends. So when one is situated in goodness, then he develops purity and knowledge and feels a natural sense of happiness. Goodness can give that, even though it's material happiness and it's limited, but it's better than being in passion or ignorance. In passion, what happens? One develops very strong, practically uncontrollable desires, and then other attachments. In passion, one endeavors intensely for success, material success. But inwardly, they know something is wrong. Something is not making them totally happy. The fact of the matter is, you have to be convinced about Krishna consciousness, be involved in Krishna consciousness, and be convinced about it in order to finally, after shedding things that are entangling materially, we begin to have some sense of happiness. It will not come from the material energy. That's why those who are in mode of passion, they endeavor for so many things, but will become unhappy inwardly. Somebody may have spent time, plans, and based on good karma also, become successful materially. I remember this is way back when, before I became a devotee, one TV program, evening TV program, and the host is taking this particular person, but actually that person took the host to the top of one of the skyscrapers in New York City. So this is the place, the cameras are all there, videos rolling, and we're watching this. And this rich person takes his hand and points it in a particular direction, and then says, all of those buildings there, they're mine. They're mine. Which means he has a lot of money in real estate. But are they happy? One other person who was also a multi-millionaire made the question. He's brutally honest. He was asked, are you happy because you're that wealthy? The answer he gave was, money can buy whatever I want, but it doesn't give me happiness. It becomes more obvious when a person's body begins to get quite old. It actually begins to break down right only a few years after we're born. It begins to break down. But people don't realize that. So we're growing. It's not difficult to prove that. When a person learns how to walk, just past 1 year, 2 years old, they are able to control their legs, hands, and everything quite well. Then they start running around because they're playful. Mentally, they're not developed so much. But the body is in being able to carry them wherever they want to go. They run around. and they can run all day to this place. They don't like to walk so much. They just run to this place, then come, then run to this other place, and come, run to this place. Then we think that when we get older, we're stronger. Really? Anybody will throw the challenge out. If you're past 15 years old, can you run the whole day the way 3, 4, 5-year-olds run? Can you do that? The answer is no. No. We've seen people who are athletes in their 20s, and a few of them even in their 30s, go on a race, and they're battling each other because they want to see who will win. But at the end of it, watch all of them. Tired like anything. Some of them are just lying on the tracks. Some of them, everybody's breathing heavily. But if you let a bunch of 6, 7-year-olds do that going around the track, when they finish, they're walking around like nothing happened. So the body does in fact break down. Now, when we get to the older age, past 50, 60, 70, then we realize what it is. Pain comes from nowhere. And that's the bodies that we have. So Mortal Passion says, get this, get this, get this, acquire this, acquire this, acquire this. But that's why in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 5, text 22 says, Yehi samspasa bhoga dukkha yunaya evate adyantavanta konteya nateshu ramate buddha. If you use your mind, your intelligence, a person that is intelligent knows that everything here in the material world is temporary. And no matter how pleasant they seem, it is going to end. We don't want to die. When a person dies at a young age, we feel great disappointment. He didn't get to live that long. But then that's one side that's disappointing. We look at the other side. All right, then the person lives that long. People say, oh, he had a good, ripe old age. You ask the person what old age was like. A lot of suffering. So if you die early, that's not good. If you die late, you will suffer before you die because the body is breaking down. So it's a no-win situation. So the one who is wise does not put all their marbles in this type of lifestyle. They're going to want something that's more permanent, that doesn't bring sickness, that doesn't bring anxiety, that doesn't bring fear. That is the life of the soul in the spiritual world. That's why Srila Prabhupada is leading us there. So, what about ignorance? Ignorance, a person becomes foolish, becomes lazy, and sometimes even worse, mentally deranged. So, the problem then is that we have lost touch on how to live in goodness and pursue real knowledge. And therefore, passion and ignorance are gradually taking over our society, in our cities, the towns, neighborhoods, and in our very lives. This is crazy, crazy, crazy passionate stuff. People just go on, naked clubs. People spend hard-earned money to go see somebody who's naked, as if their spouse can't get naked right in front of them and see the same thing. They go pay money for that, which means that we're deranged. This is a mental situation that is unfortunate. But people think they're enjoying that way. So, the Vedic literature warns us that if passion and ignorance grow too strong, then men will become less than animals. See, animals, they do things based on, we call instinct, but they are at a certain level and they don't change too much. Little adaptation here and there, but basically they live the same life. But when we get degraded, we can get degraded to the point where we think we're living a sophisticated life, but actually animals are steadier than us in their mentality compared to us. when we degrade, allow ourselves to be degraded. Human beings are doing things animals would even think to do, or by their instincts they don't do. Some of them are too gross to even mention here. So if we keep doing like that, then the world will become less than a jungle, because the animals will be living even better than us. So we are in our homes, we lock our homes in the night because we don't want violence at our doorstep. And in the meantime, the leaders of the world, if you look at the news, barking, snarling at each other. I'm going to do this. You don't tell me what to do. I'll do this to you. And some of them are just busy taking the money that's supposed to run the countries, putting it in their pockets. And in the other countries, allowing those who steal to keep the money with them in their name, when they know very well that they stole it from the countries that they came from, the politicians. So that is the situation. But we did, in fact, promise that we're going to talk about the modes based on Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita, Mode of Goodness, chapter 18, text 42. Samudama tapasocham shanti ajavam evacha gyanam vijnanam ashikam brahmakam svabhavajam. So sama, goodness. In goodness, shama is peacefulness. Dhamma is self-control. Tapa, austerity. Shocham, purity. Shanti, tolerance. Ajavam, honesty. Jnanam, knowledge. Vijnanam, wisdom. Then astikyam, religiousness. That is more than goodness. A peaceful person who is self-controlled, who is austere, who is pure, who is tolerant, who is honest, knowledgeable, wise, and religious. Brāhmaṇas, they live that way. Kshatriya qualities. That's the next text. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, text 43. Shoryam tejo diti daksham yudhe chapyap alayanam. Dhanam ishvara bhavascha shatram karma svabhavajam. So for the Kshatriyas, politicians, as well as military people, heroism, power, determination, resourcefulness, courage in battle, generosity, and leadership. Those are the natural qualities of work for the Kshatriyas. The only problem is some of these things have been out of balance. People struggling, the demonic people wanting more and more and more power, rather than proper leadership and generosity. So that's been overtaken by negative things, selfishness, which is lust, more the passion. Now, Vaishya and Shudra qualities, motive, well, we're comparing it to the Varnas too as we go on. So the modes and the Varnas at the same time. So for the Varnas is we have Vaishya and Shudra. So Kisigo Raksha Vajinyam, Vaishya Karma Svabhavajam, Paricharatmakam Karma, Sudasyapi Svabhavajam. Farming, cow protection, and business. They are the natural work for the Vaishyas. And the Shudras are employees. They serve the other Varnas. So, this is the situation. We are, of course, the questions asked by Maharaj Pariksit are wonderful questions that Shukadeva Goswami will tackle, and that's going to be in the next chapter. With the time that's left, 2 minutes, I would like to ask permission to go on with the realizations of the Avadut Brahman, Canto 11 of Bhagavatam, this time chapter 8. The last thing that we've talked about is chapter 7. And hopefully the very first one we still remember, because that is such an important mindset to help us to stay in the mode of goodness. The very first one, the earth. So we'll repeat that before we even go on to the others. The earth, the personification of religion, the bull, really brought up this very situation about the tolerance of the earth. That when something happens to us by someone else, we shouldn't do a tit for tat, try to get them back, because they are acting, the one that came at us negatively is acting helplessly, controlled by the motor nature. And the key word is helplessly. Lust makes us do, we all know, lust makes us do things sometimes we know it's wrong, but we do it anyway. It takes a while for self-control to get us away from that tendency to act. So the person that's doing something negative towards us knows that it's wrong. The intelligence has already kicked in. The super soul has cautioned that person, what you're going to do is wrong, but they do it anyway. Because lust impels the person to do it. The more the passion. So if we understand it this way, from that higher point, then look at it like a knife that cut us. If we're cut by the knife, what do? Burn the knife? Break it to pieces? No, it's a knife. It did what it did in the wrong arena. But actually, we were the one handling the knife, or we were the one moved the wrong way, and the knife cut us. That's the way we should look at people who do negative things towards us. Now, in Christianity, Jesus said it in one sentence. But when you bring the bhāgavatam, they give every sentence much, much, much deeper explanation for it. When others were harming Jesus, he said, Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. And people take that in isolation, not realizing that actually this is the way we should look at life. That everyone that comes at us is being impelled by the material nature to do to us. So if we look at it that way, we look at it like where the knife cut us, we don't go blaming the knife. That's one point we should remember from the earth. The earth is tolerant. So people do all kinds of things to the earth, but they're just trying to live. Trying to get oil, trying to get this, they just dig different places, trying to get gold, they dig different places into the earth, not even thinking how it's affecting the earth. And the earth tolerates. Now, having said that, that does not mean that the person that did something negative towards us will not have to pay for it. Every action will have a reaction. So if what they did to us was wrong, we don't have to retaliate to them. But Yamaraj will take care of that. So when we understand that we shouldn't be the ones to try to cause trouble to others, because then we're going to pay for it. Even a person that is advanced, if you cause trouble to them, they won't retaliate because they understand this point. That is, if they are in Vedas and they know Srimad Bhagavatam. Many people just retaliate because they're in more ignorance. They don't realize that if you retaliate, you also done something wrong. And two wrongs don't make a right. But at the same time, we shouldn't be, after understanding this, we shouldn't be the one to be used to cause trouble to someone else. Yes, everybody's karma. There's some simple reactions of sin. They have to pay for it. And if they have to pay for it, then somehow it will be done to them. Yeah, just like the Dhritarashtra, he had to pay for it. He killed 100 birds. His sons were killed, 100 sons. But don't be the one causing it, because then it goes against you. Unless, of course, in this case, Bhima was the one that killed them. But that was because Krishna wanted them to fight a war. And he killed in a war situation. It wasn't a crime doing it. So he killed in a war situation, which were allowed to soldiers kill other soldiers. So for today's one, a few points. Let me just go down and see. Where will we? All right. Just give me a little bit of time because I actually moved away from where I was at. Okay. All right. one thing which is actually part of our even prayer when we say before we take prasadam, Sarira Vijaja Chandriya Teika. This is also described here. So in chapter 8 of Canto 11, just as a fish is incited by the desire to enjoy his tongue, and then they get fatally trapped with the fisherman's hook. In the same way, a foolish person, bewildered by the extreme urges, disturbing urges of the tongue, you also get ruined like that. So by fasting, learned men quickly learn to bring all the senses, except the tongue, under control. Because when we abstain from eating, then men are afflicted usually with an increased desire to gratify the sense of taste. We all know when we fast, when is it that the fast is going to be over? Saturday is coming, this Saturday. It's Janmashtami. And usually we break our fast in the evening. So throughout the day, we think about Krishna. We do this particular austerity just for the sake of Krishna consciousness. So it's being said here, Abadu Brahman is making the point that although one may conquer all of the other senses, as long as the tongue is not conquered, it cannot be said that the person has controlled their senses fully. But if one is able to control the tongue, then one is understood to be in full control of all the senses. And that's why in the Prasadam prayer, they said, "Dear Lord, this body is a place of ignorance. The senses are all paths leading to death. Somehow or other, we've fallen into this material world. And of all the senses, the tongue is the most difficult to control." This is the translation of Sarira Vijaja Chandriya Teika. It's very difficult to control the tongue in this world. But you, Lord, has been merciful to us and given us prasadam, your mercy, in order to control the tongue. So that's part of the translation of that prayer. And here, the Avadhu Brahman is also saying, try to control the tongue. Don't eat just anything. Eat Krishna prasadam. If we don't, Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita, we only eat sin. So eat Krishna prasadam. It also controls that, because we eat in a certain consciousness when we have Krishna prasadam instead of anything from anywhere. And we eat only what Krishna eats, or Krishna has sanctioned that we eat. So, very, very interesting. There's one more, it's long, so I'm going to postpone that to next time. And so we'll say one more. A person who has developed detachment can give up the bondage of material society, can give up material friendship, and even material love. And a person who undergoes great suffering gradually becomes out of hopelessness, detached and indifferent to the material world. It takes a while because people want to be comfortable in their lives, to see the material world for what it is. Now, I think it was yesterday or something, we were talking about another class, that those in advanced countries, they made laws, making it a little bit more difficult and being careful to get people to come into the country and be part of that country. Because there's so much that's there materially for a person to have so-called high quality of life, higher standard of life. But that has its downside also, because so many people think that once they are able to pay their bills and live in a place that they consider relatively comfortable, then they are successful in life, not realizing that it's only temporary, and the real enjoyment, they don't even know what it is yet. There's nothing to really enjoy in this place, but it takes sometimes years and years and years and years of the Buddhists listening to different aspects of the Shastra to begin to finally hit us. No matter what the material energy gives us, it doesn't give us, it gives us in terms of material things to live on or to depend on, real happiness will never come from it. It takes a while for everybody, for people to get to the point that the material energy is actually fooling us, thinking that it's going to make us happy, but it never can, and it never will. It's not even designed to do it. It takes years and decades for even the bodies to come to that point, even though it's said to us so many times, and even in religion, you've got it in short, and many people don't understand it. Live in this world, but not of this world. Yeah, it's there. Live in this world, but not. How do you do that? Everybody's going after the toys here, the material energy. So live in this world, but not of this world. People don't understand it, and they don't live by it. But it takes a while for us to begin to understand the fruitlessness of trying to put so much energy into material success. It's fruitless. If we don't know anything about it, at the very end, we're going to die and all our efforts will be gone. Everything will be taken away. The more things we have, the more headaches we have. Because every single thing is asking for bills to pay to maintain it and inconveniences to go through. Sometimes it becomes too overwhelming for the mind. I have all of this. Some of the most wealthy people, they don't get a good night's sleep like you and me do. There's so many things are running into through their heads. This one, that one, that. Why? Because they acquired so much. And now it's bothering their peace of mind. So it's like that. But in the spiritual world, you have a gazillion times more than what even the richest person has here. But there's total peace and there's total happiness. Because it doesn't cost anything and it doesn't have to be maintained. So happiness in the spiritual world, but not here. As we'll hear more from the Avadut Brahman. And then later on, we'll talk about the identity of the Avadut Brahman, which is pleasantly interesting, very interesting. But that's at the end. So we'll stop here. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So this is the time to unmute yourself. We have some questions, realizations, dots that you connect with other things that you've heard. Then you can unmute yourself and begin to share for all of us. Hare Krishna. So any questions or comments? Okay, if there are no questions, that's also good because we always teach each other by, what we hear every day helps us to improve our lives as long as we live life and have the proper realizations. So we'll stop here. Have a rest of your day in the Krishna conscious way. Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpatarubhishcha kripasundibhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you.